So what are some IPAs that you do or you're doing currently? Tonight, we're going to be breaking this down for our September boot camp day 2. Thank you guys for showing up for you. But we're going to break down IPAs, super important. Mindset, number 1, always important. Number 2 is actually how to structure and organize your business. We are busy. A lot of us are mamas. A lot of us have jobs outside of this. And so it's super important to streamline that and get yourself organized, get yourself disciplined. Is it something that's going to happen overnight where you're just all of a sudden going to go from chaos today to tomorrow feeling super organized and that you've got everything under control? No, absolutely not. That's never going to happen. You have to be realistic with that. But at the same time, you have to be able to have that moment with yourself to say, okay, this is where I need to work. This is where I'm struggling. This is where I think I need to work on a little bit more. And I need to discipline myself in that area. For example, right? If I'm wanting to lose weight, what am I going to need to discipline myself on? My eating habits, my water, my exercise routine. I'm not going to feel motivated to wake up every single day and go to the gym or work out. Correct? Correct. As a business, it's a discipline too. There are plenty of days where you don't feel like doing it. There are plenty of days where it hits the fan and you're like, I literally can't, but you can. It's just a story you're telling yourself. So, where's the chat? Oh, there it is. Hold on. Personal growth, birthdays, gratitude, prayer, yes. Products and stories, face-to-face on stories, posting products on stories, daily posts, absolutely. I'm going to hand it over to Harriet after this. We're going to go through IPAs, what those mean, and then I want us to break down non-negotiables too, because I think that's super important, especially for those crazy hectic days. So I am going to mute myself, and Harriet, take it away, girl.
All right, IPAs. These are like close to my heart because they've been such a game changer in my journey just in the network marketing profession, because I spun my wheels for so long, not really knowing what it really meant to run an online business. And if you're new or you've been in network marketing before, or you just joined our tribe, or you within your first 14 days, this is really important for you to start getting into. And like Amber said, it could feel at first like it's overwhelming, but it's working your way up into it. But it's a way for us, it's important because it's a way for you to know the things that you have to do, whether it's in 5-minute increments, but for you to be able to actually show up for your business and not just scroll and feel like you're on your screen or on your phone all day long, right? Like we didn't sign up to be glued to our phones. We signed up to be able to work our business and not have our business work us. And I'm going to be looking at my notes because you guys know I ramble, so don't mind me. So this is for you to be set up for success, right? Especially within your first 14 days. We want you to know what it's going to take for you to start getting into those daily habits, into those daily things that are going to help you grow in your business and grow within yourself, because the more you grow, the more your business is going to grow. Okay, so IPAs, what do they stand for? It's income producing activities. Okay, so I'm going to start off by pretty much going down the list of some IPAs that are very important that we do and that I do myself. I'm going to touch on some non-negotiables that, at least for me, I feel are things that even on the rough days, on the days where I just went through a hurricane and there's power out, like I'm going to do those regardless as much as I can, right? And we're going to talk a little bit about showing yourself grace on the days that maybe you didn't get any done, but it's about just starting over the next day and just keep it going. You keep it going and you don't give up, because in the end, when you do get up the next day and you're ready to start over, you know exactly what it is that you need to do. Okay, so the first one is self-development. Your mindset is going to be so huge when working in this business, in this profession, because it can either be your biggest asset or your biggest downfall, because you have to believe in yourself first. You have to believe what you have your hands on, and you have to believe that what we have here works. Okay, and I am the first one to say that it does. This is my 7th network marketing company, and like I said, it excited me to know that I can have a list of things that are really going to show me what it is that I have to do on social media. So many people say, oh, you can work your business online, get on for an hour a day. Okay, but what does that mean exactly? What it is that I'm going to do? How? the how. Not just tell me that you were successful and you're making it work, but how are you going to do it? How can I follow you? So this list really makes our business also duplicatable, because someone can come in and yeah, we're not going to say, hey, here's a list of IPAs and just go do them. We're still going to be here for you. But like I said, it's something for you to be able to guide yourself with. So self-development, whether it is working on your mindset with a podcast, with going into the Bible, pouring yourself into yourself spiritually, just have that personal growth, that spiritual growth, that is so important. For some people, 10-15 minutes is okay. For myself personally, I honestly do 30 minutes to an hour of self-development in the morning. That's just myself, but whatever is your jam, whatever works for you, you make it work. But we highly recommend that you start your day off with that self-development and set your mind up for that day, because when everything else starts just coming in, and like, you're going to feel more in order with yourself when you start off with self-development. The next thing would be your oh no, don't do me like this.
You're back. You good.
Okay, all right. So products on stories, right? This is one of those things that's one and done when it comes to doing IPAs, because you take your capsules in the morning, you take your shake, you put on your DFT, you share it. That's it. You're not gonna post your capsules and your shakes 3-4 times a day, right? You post as you go. And yes, there's gonna be times where maybe you can take a picture of what you're doing and maybe post it 30 minutes to an hour later. It's okay, because you best believe that when I'm doing my IPAs, when I'm doing my self-development, somewhere in there, I'm taking my capsules, because let's be honest, there's some mornings where I'm like, still fall asleep. So I'm going to take my capsules. So I'll catch a quick picture and I don't get on social media and post it. I keep going my self-development, but I have those things ready because it's something that I do every day, right? You want to show people that consistency. You want to show people that, hey, I actually take these products, right? And we're sharing our experience. And it's been a huge thing to have those stories. Like, there was a time where those weren't available. And I always like to think of stories like the behind the scenes of what your life looks like, right? What you decide to share about yourself in your life. And you have to show that you actually use these products, and you have to show your excitement. And you have to show how they help you, because how else are they going to join you, whether it is as a customer or as a part of your team, if they don't see that consistency, right? It builds that trust with the next person who's been following you, who's in your stories, who one day is going to say 6 months to a year later, like, okay, I've been watching you, let me thrive, right? You don't want them to come one day and be like, well, where is she? She said she loved these products. She said she loved this business. Where's she at? Right? Like, oh, I guess they weren't that good. Okay. But if they come back and 6 months later, a year later, you're still just as excited, they're like, okay, what is this stuff? I keep seeing you put it in your stories every day. Like, what is it? Let me thrive. I know that's what happened to me with Amber. I was like, oh, let me try this thrive stuff. 3-day or 5-day? Send me a 5-day. Like, let's do this, right? And because we have our own experience, you have to think of her. You have to think of that person that's watching you, and you owe it to her to be consistent. Because if the products has helped you so much, you know for a fact that it can help someone else, right? And it just builds the confidence that in yourself, and to keep yourself excited to keep sharing them and prove to yourself, keep that promise to yourself that you are going to build that consistency and that trust with the next person who's watching you. Okay. It's like that line of communication, because when they keep seeing you, they're going to ask questions eventually. Okay. So the third one would be interactions. What are interactions? Those are basically like genuine, authentic relationship building. When you show up like yourself, you actually go, and it's almost like a give and receive type thing. Like, if you want someone to come interact with your things, you have to go interact with theirs. You have to actually see if these are your people as well. If you can relate to them and they can relate to you. If you ever get to a point where you feel like, okay, nobody's in my inbox, why aren't they watching? Chances are those aren't your people, right? So you have to build those relationships to even know, okay, if they are, okay? So you have to like build that relationship, make friendship, and it's not about thrive, right? It's about whatever they're sharing in their lives, okay, that you can relate on. You can ask them questions, and you should see how many friendships you've actually built if you just like go on there and just be yourself and be like, girl, where did you get that shirt from? oh my goodness, I love your lashes. Who's doing them, right? Especially if they're local or anything like that. Like whatever it is. How old is your child? Oh my God, they're so smart. Like, oh, you know, or how are those swimming lessons going? Like, I can't wait to get my kid in them. Like anything that you can relate on, right? Like some of us are dog moms, like Karen, she loves dogs. Like I'm sure she's seen somebody posting about their dogs. It's like, oh, I have doggies too, you know? So whatever it is, you have to find your people because you can't create those connections and actually one day become sisters and do this together if you cannot like relate in any kind of way. You know, like for me, I related with Amber as far as like how she was feeling, her energy, and then the business side of it. She was sharing her community. She was sharing how she did not want to be tied to that time clock. And that resonated with me so hard because I've been fighting for that since I was 18 years old. Okay. And it's about that perseverance because it's like how we heard last night. Like I was gifted that vision and it's been years, but I'm not going to stop. Right. And I finally have this list of IPAs and it's not about being robotic, but it's about just knowing how you're going to show up. Okay, so stories are huge for me and those interactions as well. Inside of those stories are huge because that gets you inside of somebody's inbox. That gets you directly into that conversation. I still go on somebody's wall and I interact there, but stories are huge. Like that for me personally, that's a non-negotiable. That's one that I'm like, you know what? I didn't scroll that timeline today, but I'm in the stories. I'm gonna go at least 5 minutes, right? Those are like things that after you do your one and dones, like maybe doing your birthdays or like going on there and posting your products on your stories, those are one and dones. But then throughout your day, you with that 5 minutes going up the steps, 5 minutes on the potty, like 5 minutes while you're like maybe you're riding in the car, you're not the one driving, like whatever it is, you do those the interactions and the stories really quick. If you're not the type that in your schedule allows for you to maybe knock it out all in the morning, some people are able to do that. For me, I have two crazy boys. I love them, but they're crazy. So I can't like get up in the morning and do everything at once. Like most of the time, I do certain like stories. We're gonna talk about 3-2-1s next, right? Those are something that are like that I do throughout my day and growing my network. Those are things that I'm gonna 5-minute increments to do throughout my day. But I do try to do power hours if I can during nap time and get a lot of it done at once. But whatever works with your schedule, right? Once you get into the flow, you're gonna find what works for you. So 3-2-1s. What are 3-2-1s? Those are a way for you to, especially if someone just joined your network, they're starting to see you. You want them the way, this is a way to get them to actually like pay attention. Like, who is that? Who is that girl, right? One person's profile, what it is that you're going to like 3 of their posts, you're going to comment and interact on 2 of their posts, and then you're going to have one story interaction with them. That's a 3-2-1. And it doesn't mean that if you cannot go in there and do all 3 of them, that you're not going to interact with this person, right? There's people who aren't in their stories, right? So I just do the post part, or some people may not have posted since 2 days ago, but I'm still going to go in their stories and interact. But it's just like I said, this is always a guide to give you options and kind of like get your brain going to like, okay, how can I interact with this person? That's the ultimate goal, for you to interact and for them to see you. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but you can go on someone's stories or go on their timeline, and before you know it, you might peep them in your stories because you popped up on their timeline. You popped up in the front, your bubble came up on top in the front of their stories. Okay, so like I said, give and take, because you have to interact. You have to give the love to receive the love. Okay, so growing your network, that's a big thing. It really is. And that's one thing that for myself lately, I've been having to really make it one of my non-negotiables too, to try to really grow my network, because that's the biggest thing. You have to get new eyes on your profile, right? On your page. So the way to do that is to, yes, follow new people, but also, like I said, to know if they're your people, it's part of like unfollowing as well, because you don't want to have someone that, if you can't do a 3-2-1 or any part of a 3-2-1, more than likely they can't relate to you either, right? So you have to also unfollow and just kind of like make it a point to add new, remove the, I don't know if you want to call it dead weight, I don't know. But I've even noticed that when I have a lot of followers that aren't really looking at my posts or my stories, I when I do go unfollow them, And yeah, that's a good point. I don't necessarily unfollow every single day, but when I do, I see certain interactions like kind of like go up a little bit because it's almost like you're doing that cleanup. And a big thing that I use, especially on Facebook, and guys, these IPAs are two birds with one stone when it comes to Instagram and Facebook. You can do them both and knock it out. Because you don't, some people aren't on Facebook, some people aren't on Instagram, some people don't go on stories, some people are just, so these are overall IPAs that you can do for both platforms. Okay. So another big way that I also unfollow are, okay, we're gonna jam. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but somebody so a big thing also is birthdays. Actually, almost every single day, there's somebody in my birthdays that I unfollow or unfriend, especially on Facebook. I mean, well, it's on Facebook that we go do birthdays, right? Because on Instagram, you won't know it's someone's birthday unless they post it, right? Unless they post about it, unless it's in their stories. But I go and I scroll a little bit. I don't just go in the main page and say, oh, I'm going to post on their timeline. I'm going to click their picture. I'm going to go and see when the last time they post, especially if someone you don't see any interaction since their last birthday in 2020. Oh, bye. Yes, I will unfriend you on your birthday. Okay, you would never know I'm here because you haven't been on anyway. So that's a huge thing. And it kind of takes off the overwhelm of doing a big cleanup, especially on Facebook, because it's a little harder to really go in and unfriend. Birthdays are huge. So like I said, I unfriend almost every day through birthdays on Facebook. And that's my way of cleaning up on there. Okay, so let's see where we at. Oh, yeah. Well, basically I did say that, like, it doesn't mean, sometimes we feel like if we leave someone on, eventually they will look at your stuff and they will order. You can't just leave anybody and everybody on your page. You have to really figure out if they're your people. I can't believe they have this song on. Can y'all hear me well? Okay. Got some old school jazz behind me. I don't know who it is, but so yeah, so you have to really find out if they're your people, because you don't want that dead weight on there. You don't want to feel like if you keep them on there, eventually they're gonna order. And I'm guilty of that. Like, it really hit me hard when I heard Lindsay say this when she did the update on IPAs. Like, I'm like, yeah, some people, I'm looking at them like, well, I'll keep trying to interact. Like, oh, I really don't like what they're talking about, but maybe one day they'll see my stuff and they'll want it. No, I'm not gonna assume that they're gonna want energy. I'm not gonna assume that they're gonna want to thrive and feel good, even though I don't know why they wouldn't. But it is what it is, right? So don't be afraid to unfollow, but also keep adding new eyeballs to your, oh my God, the rain is coming. Don't do me like this. All right, let's see. Next one would be post. It's not necessary, and I come from this, posting like 5-6 times a day. It's not necessary to do so, okay? You can completely, I'm gonna have to move. Give me a second. You can completely do one post, one quality post a day. It's more than enough. It's more than enough. And give me just a quick second here. If I go in my house, it's gonna be dark. Y'all, we make it work around here. One second, y'all. Yeah, I need to go in the car. All right, where we at?
We're just talking about quality posts over quantity, and the difference between posting like 9 times a day and one really good post a day.
Exactly. Okay, there we go. So 1 time a day, a really good post daily goes further than posting several times a day. Share about the products, like what they've done for you. You can share about your the comp plan, or about like why you're here or where you're going. Like, talk about your vision. Use your 5 list and pull from there, right? That's something that's really huge as well, to build your brand and show people who you are. And it's a really good guide for you to post from and pull from, and be able to create those posts. And the more you do it, don't worry, because I know if you're new right now or you're watching this video and you're within your first birthday, you're probably like, oh my God. But it's not about doing everything when you first start, right? We're gonna like help you go through it. And one thing that I suggest is taking a few of these, getting comfortable with doing those, and then gradually adding more. until before you know it, it's going to be like second nature, and you're going to be doing those like it's nothing and knocking them out, right? But it's about committing to yourself to getting that consistency in, because this is what's going to, like, yes, it's going to grow with you, and you're going to be able to create those good habits and grow in your business. Okay, so let's see. Number 7 is sharing. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. Okay, sharing to your stories. That is a huge part of your business. And when I say sharing to stories, it's not just after you post the products in your stories and that's it, and you're not gonna go back on there, right? You can share certain things about your routine. You can be working out. You can be sharing your family. You can be, traveling, whatever it is that you have going on, you can share as well, right? Because you're sharing you're sharing parts of your life that you're comfortable sharing. And it's not just all about Thrive. Okay. It's like you post your stories, you post the products that you're taking, you post about the opportunity in your stories, but you also have to put in you have to put in your personality. You have to let people get to know you, right? Because in this profession, people are going to get to know you, like you, and trust you. And that's when they're going to reach out. That's when they're going to decide whether they want to be in business with you. So you have to create that consistency and let them get to know you. Okay. So yeah, if you're brand new and you're not in your stories yet, get in your stories. They're really, really huge. I'm so happy that those ever came about, because they're really a way to lay back and to also not only let people get to know you, like I said, but you get to know them. That's like the behind the scenes. That's when people are like real and raw. They're not trying to have that perfect picture on their wall. And, like some of them, I show up my hair out sometimes. Like, it's like, it's just you. And I feel like that's just beautiful. Okay. So you can post on your fives list as well to post on your stories. Now, another one, number 8, is Reels. That's like the newest thing, a huge thing in content creation right now. It's Reels. That's another way you can really show your personality. You can be goofy. Like, I like to dance, right? Like, just like be funny. Sometimes I share my faith. It's still my fives list in my Reels, right? It just depends what I want to share that day or what I get inspired about. These are things that you can batch and have ready. Like, right before this hurricane, I literally did almost 10 reels that I've had batched. And I'm like, thank you, Lord, because I don't know if y'all see them, but you're probably like, okay, shouldn't even have that hairstyle no more. But look, they were already made. And I'm thankful for that, because I've been able to still, last month, I honestly was posting 2 reels a day, but like now it's like, okay, let me just stick to that one. That's become a non-negotiable for me, to do at least that 1 reel every day if I can. Okay. But like I said, there's days where life just happens, and don't feel like you're just making an excuse to not do it. Sometimes it's just out of your control. You got to let go and start over the next day. It is okay, girl. It really is. Like, I've had to learn that. I've had to learn to let go. And last night Zoom really hit me too, because it's like, you have to know when you're in that season where you may not show up the way you want to, but you have the heart to still show up, even in the chaos, even in whatever that's going on, right? We've all gone through different things where we have to realize, like, okay, slow down a little. It's not that you're going to be completely absent, but it's just, you're just going to pivot a little bit, and that's totally okay. All right. Just know that consistency is key. And you're not going to be alone in this at all. Okay. So another thing is like gratitude. I ams and gratitude. This can be something that you can either add at the first of your day, but I've heard one of our other leaders, like Lindsay, said, like, at the end of the day. And I'm like, that makes sense, because if you're doing self-development in the morning, why not when you're ending your day, say your I ams, right? Tell God, tell the world, tell the universe, like, where you're going, what you're believing for, that you're going to become. But you also have to be grateful of where you are and what you have now. And that's a big thing, because you're putting out there that, hey, I'm grateful for the little, right? So I can be trusted with more. And I'm going to grow in these seasons. I'm going to grow as a person, right? Like, how much I know we all have, how much have we grown? Like, sometimes even within the first few weeks of being in this business, it's incredible the leaders that we have. So you have to remember that gratitude. Just be thankful even for the little things, because that's when you'll be able to, like, become that person who can handle when it's bigger, right? And how can you ever do that or receive those blessings if you don't grow yourself? Okay. So one and dones, I want to touch on that, because that's how you can really make it not as scary. When you really, like, break down that list, like, there's a lot of those things that you do one time and that's it. right? Like posting your products on your stories, like doing that one post, going and interacting with, unless that's a non-negotiable for you, you may go and interact again at the end of the day, go a little bit more in stories, but it'll grow with you and you'll figure out what you want to do more. Growing your network, that's a one-time thing. Sharing to your stories, it's a one-time thing, right? Doing that reel every day if you decide to, that's a one-time thing. Or going live, it's a lot of those little things that you can knock out. Saying happy birthday, one and done. Okay, and then you can do the 3, 2, 1s, add into your network and stories. If you decide to make those a non-negotiable, you can go in and do more 5-minute increments on those throughout your day if you're able to. But a lot of these are really one and done. And as you go into it more, you'll really be able to, like I said, see what works for you. Okay, but you have to be loud and proud, right? You have to be excited. You have to be confident in what you have and what you have your hands on, because you have to be able to inspire the next person. They have to really believe that you believe in what you have, right? And if you don't grow yourself and you don't grow that confidence in yourself and be loud and proud to wear that sticker, that patch, or whatever you want to call it. The other day, somebody called it a Band-Aid. Yup, it's a Band-Aid. It's healing me. It's helping me. Whatever you want to call it, it's cool, right? But still be loud and proud. It doesn't matter. You have to be willing to do the work too, because the more you share, the more you market the product. In the end, we are in sales, but we're sharing what it does for us, so it doesn't feel salesy, and the product is going to sell itself, right? And you have to be consistent, because if you're not, you have to think like, what's the cost of me not showing up or giving up? Like, who's going to be affected by me quitting on myself, right? Like, where will I be a year from now if I don't give myself that chance to put in the work and actually be consistent? Like, this is the most consistent that I've been ever in my network marketing profession in all these years, because I finally grew me. I finally grew myself. I finally learned how to just say, hey, you know what? I'm the secret sauce. It's not about like all the perfect, like pretty social media things. It's just be yourself. You are the secret sauce. And that's been, like I said, the whole like biggest difference for me. And setting those routines, doing the planning, because you have to, oh my God, planning has been huge. This is actually the first week that I didn't plan. I've been doing okay, but I'm like, oh, I don't know. I've had some days, right? But it's about just being consistent overall. And I keep saying that, but that's what it takes. That commitment and that consistency to grow and to show up, create those good habits, to set that routine. I'm so like into my routine, y'all, that I swear, like I can't sleep past 6, maybe 6:30. I can't like I actually feel like, oh my God, like I where's my post? Like, where's my, like, like it's so ingrained in me now. That's like, I feel fulfilled to accomplish these things every day. Right. But like I said, we have to learn sometimes to just ease up on the pedal sometimes, but it's incredible when you can actually see yourself growing and getting consistent and creating those good habits, letting go of what doesn't serve you, letting go of people's opinions or what they may think about what you're doing. Stay loud and proud, because the quicker you get that consistency and self-discipline with your routine and the habits, the easier it gets. It really does. And I've seen that within my own business, and it's been huge, because to sit here and still get the perks and the rewards of being consistent, even when I've had to slow down the last week, still earning my product credits, right? Still getting my little commission check. I am loud and proud, even if it's just gas money for that week. Okay. So when you build that consistency, you're loud and proud, you're gonna feel okay even in the little things as you grow. So one last thing I want to say as well that I have here in my notes that I wanna say is that, like, just like when you're at your 9 to 5, you or as a nurse, Amber, right? Like, and I've seen it, like we've been patients before, right? You see that when you switch shifts, and not even just as a nurse, like in certain jobs, you have to let the next person know a report of what it is that just happened, what it is that they have to take over. I used to work front desk at a medical office. I have to say, like, hey, this is what's going on. this is the patient's or whatever it is, right? Because the next person that comes has to know that report. So that's what the IPAs are, the non-negotiables are for yourself, because you work for yourself and it's easy to not show up. But when you have those IPAs done, that's a report to you from your business and know that you showed up that day and what you got done, right? You're no longer spinning your wheels because you have order of knowing that you worked your business. Whether it is that you got a customer that day or not, or a promoter that week or not, you know, you have your report and you're working, because it's a compound effect. If you haven't read that book, please read it. It's the magic of the compound effect. The little things that you do over and over, they're going to compound into massive results if you just don't give up. Success is not immediate, but it's eventually. It's going to have you if you don't give up. That's just it. So that's what I have, y'all.
Ah, so good. So good. Thank you so much for breaking those down for us. I'm not going to keep us too much longer, actually. I wanted to just kind of like reiterate on two of the things that you said was, you know, we kind of talked about how the IPA list evolves with you over time. And what I want you to understand, especially if you're new or ish in this business, is that the IPA list can be super overwhelming. And you need to know that it's not one size fits all. If I gave you my IPA list and you went to go do it, you're not going to feel the same, right? You may not even feel accomplished. You take Harriet's IPA list, Karen's IPA list, anybody's IPA list, and you try to do it, it might not fit in your schedule. It might not work for you. You might be an early bird. You might be a night owl. It might not work for you. I wake up at 4:44. It might not work for you, right? I try to go to bed early. It might not work for you, right? You might be like, it's not a one size fits all. It's what I'm trying to say. And so it is something that's going to evolve with you over time. It is something that you're going to have to play with. You're going to have to try the early mornings. You're going to have to try the late nights. You're going to have to try breaking it up into bite-sized pieces. You're going to have to try setting timers. You're going to have to try go into your settings in your phone and put a timer limit on your Instagram and say, okay, I'm going to give myself 2 hours. I don't know. I'm just make that up. 2 hours limit on Instagram for the day. See how fast you hit that timer. See how fast you hit that timer. You'd be surprised, because the first time I did that, I think I set my limit at like 2.5 hours, because I was like, that's a shit ton of time on Instagram and on Facebook. But I start my stories on Instagram every day. And so do you know the first time I set that 2.5 hour time limit on Instagram, do you know what time that timer went off? 9:30 in the morning. I had already spent 2.5 hours on Instagram. And that was a shocker for myself. And I said, whoa, Amber, right? You got to get it together, because I had already done adding to my network. I had done IPA, a round of IPAs, engagement, stories, face-to-face on stories, products on stories, everything I start over on Instagram. And so naturally, that timer went off first. And I really had to reel it in and say, okay, we can't be doing 2.5 hours on Instagram before 9:30 in the morning, right? So you have to figure it out. You have to be willing to play with it. You have to be willing to have days like that to say to yourself, hey, this isn't working. This is not longevity. I can't keep this up, right? Or this is going to hurt me in the long run. And the last thing I want to say is that it is a lot to go from that employee mindset to that entrepreneurial mindset, and to actually think of yourself as a business owner before you even hit the first rank in the company. That's really hard to do. That's really hard to do, because when you haven't hit the first rank in the company, you want to know how I felt? I felt like I was nobody. I felt like I didn't matter, right? I felt like, who am I? Like, nobody's going to listen to me. Nobody cares what I think, right? I was so defeated in my own mindset. I was like, I don't know how to do this. Capsules on my stories, Pinterest quote, I ran my business for the day, right? No, I had to learn the hard way. I stayed stuck in that for a very long time, feeling like I was actually running my business. And then I went into a whole nother season where I was just self-developing my whole day through and wondering why my business wasn't going anywhere. Is because I wasn't doing anything else. Video, podcast, old training, another podcast. Let me go pick up a book, right? You can't self-develop your way to 4K. You're not going to. You're not going to self-develop your way to becoming a great leader. It's going to be in having those tough conversations. It's going to be in having those conversations with yourself. It's going to be your way to 4K is you learning how to get really uncomfortable going live and learning your IPA list and learning discipline and taking yourself seriously with your products, right? It's all the story that unravels on your journey to your first rank, on your journey to your second rank. There's things like that that are going to come that you are going to have to master along the way. The IPA list is one of the first things that you're really kind of entrusting yourself with in this business. And you're like, okay, well, I guess this is what I'm supposed to do. I guess I'm supposed to go add to my network. I used to mass add to my network. As long as it wasn't a boy, I added them. And then I wondered why I wasn't having engagements because I mass added people without even like looking and seeing if they're active on social media, if they have anything in common with me. It was a huge waste of time. Like Harriet said, you got to find your people. You got to find your people or you're going to spend a long time weeding out your not people. Did that make sense? I don't even know if that made sense. You're not people, the people who aren't your people, right? But I urge you to maybe research. Do your research. If you have a job, a job, research employee mindset versus entrepreneurial mindset. See what you find. See what you find. Maybe there's some other people you've never heard of that can give you some insight. Because I tell you what, I clock into my job, I'm like, I wait to be told what I need to do, right? I'm wait till I told when I can go to lunch. I'm wait to be told when I can go pee, if I can go pee. That's not how we operate here. And it's a total different mindset. It really, really is. To be able to wake up every day, know why you're working, what's your mission, what's your purpose, to have motivation behind it, energy behind it, to do it day after day after day, even before you have a paycheck. It's a lot harder than clocking into a job that you get a paycheck at the end of the week. It's a lot harder, but I tell you, it's so much more rewarding. It's so much more rewarding because of the woman that you're going to become, because of the opportunities that you're going to see open up for your family. Maybe you'll start to see some commas in your bank accounts, right? Because you got serious. You got serious with this opportunity. You got serious with yourself. You started treating yourself as a network marketing professional. I hope you're proud of the industry that we work in. I hope you're proud of the person that you're becoming. And I hope you're let me not cuss, proud of, like, can we just clap for our team real quick? For our leadership, who's not jumping down our throats, telling us to send out cold messages? Can we clap for our company who sets us up with free product credit? Who doesn't charge us for a website? Who doesn't stick our customers on auto ship? Like, we have it really good. We have it made. We really do. I've never been anywhere else. I've never been in another company, and I can tell you we have it made because I hear the horror stories. Some of you guys have been victims of those horror stories. Some of you guys need to actually talk about that. Some of you guys need to embrace that it's so beautifully different here. It's so beautifully different here. And stand tall, right? You're on your stories. I want you to think of it like a room. You own that room. You own that room. And you carry that energy over to the next girl who's watching your stories, is what I'm saying. But you're never going to be able to own your stories, own your room, own your social media platform, be confident on your live videos or anything like that until you take yourself seriously and you actually start seeing yourself as a business owner. Okay? It all starts with us. It all starts with IPAs, with getting disciplined, with scheduling, with organization, all these things that sound like not a lot of fun, right? You know how Katie said, like, you got to sit in the crowd before you're going to be on stage. Here we are. Here we are. Okay. It's a damn good place to be. Okay. Love you guys.